What's up, guys? Dad and I are here at the Freakopolis Geekery to talk a little bit about some of the products that we got in this week. So some of you might not know, but as a comic shop, we're in a unique place because every week there's new and different comics coming in.
Every single week.
Yeah, at least a ton of titles that are really awesome. And that puts us in a unique position. So we wanted to tell you, do a little longer stream to tell you guys about what we got in this week. And we both have a ton of awesome things to talk about and are very excited to show you some of the cool things. So, yeah, let's get right into it.
This one's cool.
Very cool, yeah. Dark Knight's Metal. We heard about it in Chicago for like the first time. And it was hyped up there. And it's been hyped ever since, and we finally got it in.
Right.
Dark Knight's Metal #1. Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, two powerhouse creators in comics, putting their vision to Batman and DC.
Yeah, DC. In fact, they did this really cool sort of closed door, kind of top secret meeting of just comic shops. And showed us what this was going to be like, gave us some insights into what Dark Knight's Metal was all about and the fact that it was going to be a big deal for them, and gave us a cool signed ashcan edition, which is like a little sample of what was coming, and it was signed by all the 4 key sort of master artists that they have, and it was super exciting for us. We got a chance to be up close and personal with those guys, get a look at what was coming, and yet we still didn't order enough books for the shop. We still managed to sort of underorder and be conservative, and it definitely has a very high demand.
Yeah, so in fact, the guys with the pull list, they got their books, and a couple other lucky people got their books, as well as this really cool Dark Knight's Metal lithograph. But we are taking pre-orders for second printings or the Director's Cut.
Director's Cut, yeah. Yeah, the Director's Cut is this cool thing. Before Dark Knight's Metal #1 came out, there was a series called The Forge and the Casting, 2 separate comics. And those comics have now been combined into a single comic and include some additional really cool art by these awesome creators. And if you reserve one of those with us and have us order one in for you, we'll get it in as quickly as we can, but you'll also get a chance to get one of these cool limited edition lithographs because we got more than we needed to serve just the people that got Dark Knight's Metal #1, and we've got a few extras. So it's your opportunity to still get in on that deal.
Yeah, so definitely one of the most exciting Batman stories to have come out since Rebirth. They're doing really cool stuff in this book. You wonder where Batman's allegiances lie. You see the whole Justice League, their cast, they play a big part in this. It was a super exciting first issue, and if you're looking for it, we can get you one, for sure.
Excellent stuff. We really recommend checking this out.
So up next, what do we got? Oh... yeah, some very awesome image trade paperbacks. Some of the best stories, I think, personally. Some of my favorites, anyways, going on right now. Saga, of course, is Brian K. Vaughan. Just this Eisner Award-winning, as well as New York Times best-selling. Tells these really heartfelt and human stories through the pages of his comic books. Saga now, I think there's 4 or 5 trades out. And we've got them all stocked, and yeah, truly an awesome book. Not what you would expect out of comics. It's not superheroes, but it is this really heartfelt story of sort of these people finding their way in life. So definitely a cool book.
Yeah, it's such a big deal, in fact, that I know Brian K. Vaughan this week is doing a really highly publicized interview with NPR, National Public Radio, because they really wanted him to talk about it and let the public hear about what kind of inspired him to write this sort of a comic. It's pretty special, and it's getting a lot of critical review. So it's awesome, and it's here in the store.
Yeah, I believe now it's won Best Ongoing Comic. He's won Eisner's for it. It's just critically acclaimed awards. out the wazoo. So a great book. On the other side of things, another Image book, Curse Words, which is a great book. I'm loving it so far. They've done 7 issues. The trade collects 1 through 5. It's a really solid first arc introducing you to the world and what's going on. It's a hilarious read. Some of the funniest stuff that's coming out these days. Plus Ryan Brown's art. We also met him in Chicago. Super cool dude. And it's just neon, explosive, energetic. He really brings a lot of life to those pages.
And it's also written by a huge, sort of megastar author right now in the comics world.
Yeah, Charles Soule, he's doing Daredevil, he's doing Darth Vader, he's doing Curse Words, a number of different really solid books right now. Super cool dude. And it tells the story of this wizard who's come to Earth. His intention is to originally destroy it, but he finds out he kind of likes Earth. And he sticks around with his koala friend, Margaret. There's a lot of hype about her on Twitter, like Team Margaret, let's go. He finds out he sort of likes Earth and gets in quite a bit of trouble as assassins are sent to kill him. The President of the United States doesn't quite know how to deal with him. It's really a solid read. That first trade, I think, is a great pickup, and it's been awesome since then. You'll see a little more curse words later in this stream. But we'll move on to Kill or Be Killed.
Speaking of megastar authors,
yet
another one.
I think all 4, really. Yeah, they're some of the top-of-the-line people right now. Kill or Be Killed, of course, Ed Brubaker teamed up with his classic member, Sean Phillips, doing art. Really a dynamic duo. They've done a number of books like Fatale, Criminal, a number of others. But Kill or Be Killed is their current project. I think we got it in the first week we opened.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, and since then, it's still one of our most sought-after books. We get in a number of copies, and now there's 2 trades out, and we have both of them in stock. They're both amazing, just real dark noir character study of this young man in New York City who sort of has this demon on his back who insists he kills somebody every month. Or he himself will die. It's sort of a devil's bargain sort of thing, but there's also this Jacob's Ladder thing going on where you don't know quite if what he's seeing is real or not. So there's a lot of mystery, a lot of action, a lot of great character moments. One of my favorite books in the shop, really, between Curse Words and Kill or Be Killed. It's sort of a toss-up, but I love them both.
Yeah, the title kind of belies its unexpected complexity in design that Ed Brubaker attaches to this. It's really turned out to be a fantastic title that is definitely appealing to a wider range of people than I originally expected.
Yeah, I think so. It deals with a lot of really adult concepts, but it maintains being fun in the same book. So certainly, been a great title since we opened. Very reliably good. You'll see it on a lot of people's pull lists. But we'll move on to something that flies a little under the radar, in my opinion. Black Road. There's now 2 volumes out, again written by one of our favorite people, Brian Wood. You can see our interview with him on YouTube. He writes some really amazing books, The Massive, Briggsland, Black Road. Just some really solid adult reading material that is not maybe what you would...
Robotech now, too.
Robotech, yeah, very true. Not what you would expect out of comics, but they're solid stories, man. I love Black Road. The first trade really impressed me. The art is heavily inked. A lot of action in this sort of Viking, northern, Holy Roman Empire. Really, it's just a quest to get north. This guy has been through a lot, and he spends his time heading north, protecting a Roman Catholic official. And he just tears his way through the north as he does it. It was a great read. I'm very excited to see where this goes. I think it has a lot of potential in the future. And Image this week is just killing it. I love all these books, man.
Yeah, our shop has done really well with Image books in particular, and we're really proud of that because the Image titles are all owned by the creators of the titles, so the artists and the authors retain their ownership of these characters and the books themselves, the content of the books. And Image is the publisher.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys have read these, if you have any comments on them, we're keeping an eye on the stream. Let us know what you think of Curse Word, Saga, Killer Be Killed, Black Road. I know some of you guys are in there that have I read most of these for sure. So if you have any thoughts, want to give us a shout out, let us know in the comments. But for now, we will move on to... Ooh, yes, a very exciting book indeed. The Infinity Gauntlet trade paperback, so a classic cosmic Marvel story, now here heavily stocked at the Geekery, in part to it being our very next comic book club read. We'll be talking about this on August 30th. We've had a bunch of new members come in and pick it up already. We're very excited to delve into this. It's a little different than what we've talked about in the past.
Yeah, the comic club is I think our first 5 books were very street level books.
Yep.
Very, sort of regular humans in sort of extraordinary circumstances primarily. And we decided after going through that series of books, we really wanted to try something with, superheroes and spandex and cosmic and color and, superpowers and all of that. So this kind of delivers across the board for that.
Yeah, very much. It's a big change in what we've been talking about previously, but of course a classic Marvel story, which is now the basis for Marvel Studios' next big, huge motion picture.
Everything's been working up to this.
Yeah, pretty much. In Avengers Infinity War, we've seen Thanos in the beginning in a couple spots in the Marvel movies, and now he'll finally be taking the battle to Earth for the Infinity Gems and Gauntlet, which this was really the basis for. So we're excited to tie into that, get a little more cosmic and super heroic and weird and colorful with the comic book club. So we have a ton of these in stock. And a lot of awesome members that are very excited to be talking about this book. You really can't go wrong with Infinity Gauntlet. It should be required reading, pretty much, I think.
Yeah. And it's gonna kind of sponsor a ton of discussion because there's so many characters involved, so many heroes involved, and such incredible villains that we will definitely be having a lot of a topical discussion about this.
Yep. Very exciting. And of course, some other classic Marvel trades made their way into the shop again this week. Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, not as classic as the other two, but an awesome read. Very exciting. Deadpool just tears his way through all those Marvel Universe heroes and villains, and written by an amazing writer, Cullen Bunn, who just puts out so much awesome work, an incredible amount of books he's got coming out. You'll see a couple more later in this stream. So yeah, can't really go wrong with Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe.
He specializes in the darker stuff.
Yeah, very much so. Horror, and
it'll make good sense to attach him to Deadpool killing the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, we'll see some more from him later on. Yeah. But these are some classic ones. Of course, we've talked about Infinity Gauntlet just at this last slide, but Marvel's Secret Wars, you could probably talk to that pretty well.
Yeah. Secret Wars, that was one of the very first sort of limited edition series that I got involved in when I first started reading comics. I think the title cost, or the cover cost on those comics was about 75 cents a piece when I got them. It was a 12-issue run, so it took a full year to deliver. In this particular case, you can get this trade paperback, and it has the entire year's worth of comics that take you right from start to finish. If you're familiar with the black Spider-Man suit, which ultimately sort of became Venom and everything that came after Venom in the Marvel Universe, it all originated here in this Secret Wars title. It's an amazing story. It also sort of kicked off that Marvel always wanting to test hero versus hero, and you see that a lot in the current Marvel Universe cinematics, where Thor and Iron Man will go at it in the movies. That sort of started in the first Secret Wars, and so it's a sort of epic clash of hero versus hero and hero versus villain, set up by this mysterious figure known as the Beyonder. And those 12 issues were just amazing, and every month you had to wait and get your hands on the next issue of Secret Wars. And it's all compiled here in this one trade paperback, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it is great. I've read it since in the trade paperback format. It's an amazing story. It really set the groundwork for a lot of what Marvel does now, sort of these big events, hero versus hero. Of course, we got the symbiote and Venom out of it. We got Doctor Doom really showing how powerful he can be. Titania and a number of other new villains show up here in their first time. Plus the X-Men and Magneto. It just covered really the whole gamut for Marvel at the time, and really laid a lot of groundwork. It's an amazing story, and they've since done it a number of times. Not to quite as much success, but 2015's was good. This one is the classic example of a really awesome event crossover for Marvel.
Every character you can imagine from Marvel seems to take part in this thing, so you get to see at least, at the very least, a cameo of any character who might be your favorite.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll see what's up next with new DC comics. Yeah, again, DC Rebirth started last year in 2016 and has continued to just be really solid, good storytelling throughout this year as well. Super Sons teaming up Damian Wayne and Superman's son to sort of be at odds at times, but also team up and have a good time together as well. Batman, we wouldn't be a comic shop if we didn't stock Batman, right? And we get plenty of copies of this, and has been a favorite of the store and our customers really since Rebirth began. And especially this arc now, the War of Jokes and Riddles, has the Joker and the Riddler facing off against each other with sort of Batman and Gotham at the center of it all. Just hoping to contain the chaos. But Tom King, who is also another really storied writer, is doing really cool stuff in this book, and I'm really enjoying it. Cave Carson has a cybernetic eye, part of DC's Young Animal line going on right now, headed by Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance fame, for any of you emo kids out there. Doing really cool stuff in the pages of this book, really trippy, sort of psychedelic panel work and storytelling, and it all sort of ties into the main DC continuity, but it works really well as a standalone as well. And of course, America's favorite guy, Superman, we're getting that every month as well, and you can't deny he set the stage for really all this stuff. So another solid title.
In fact, one of our next upcoming trades for the Comic Club is All-Star Superman.
Yeah, very excited to read Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman. We have a couple copies in stock. We're getting some more. That's after Infinity Gauntlet will be apparently a critically acclaimed and much-loved Superman story.
I also think it's pretty cool that DC tends to time it such that Super Sons, Batman, and Superman all come out on the same given week.
Right.
So if you're looking at those sort of family continuities, they kind of deliver it all simultaneously. Pretty nice.
Yeah, and on the other weeks we get Detective Comics and Action Comics, so you can get your fix pretty much any week of the month.
And Super Sons in particular has been more popular, I think, than DC originally expected it was going to be. It's a cool new title. It's in its low numbers because there hasn't been that many issues come out yet. So it's great to jump in now and check out where they're going with that.
Yeah, you sort of get the Superman and Batman facing off through their sons sort of things. You see their opposite sort of philosophies taking place in their own sons. So yeah, super interesting way to examine that for sure. Up next,
let's take a look at Dark Horse.
Ooh, yeah, Dark Horse, one of our favorite publishers for sure, doing some very cool stuff. So this Briggsland Lone Wolves #3 is another book by Brian Wood of Black Road, or of the original Briggsland run. Super exciting. This Briggsland Lone Wolves sort of takes the fight to the titular Briggsland. The federal government now has Briggsland under close scrutiny, and this arc has been really strong so far. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Wood, super cool guy. As TJ said, we did have him in an interview. He was just really great to meet with us in our comic club and take our questions and let us hit him with whatever we wanted to talk about at that time. He responded super well. That video is up online and available to be reviewed. And he's just got so many great titles going, and we're bringing in more and more all the time. So when you stop by, feel free to ask us about Brian Wood titles and what we've got going.
Yeah, absolutely. Bergsland's super cool, especially because it takes place in upstate New York, so it feels a little close to home for us.
It sure does. The art depicts our native area right here.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And then, of course, another really cool book from Dark Horse, Neil Gaiman's American Gods. Number 7, I believe, came in this week. Super exciting for that. Of course, it's now a Starz television show. It was originally a novel, and he's adapted it to comic books as well.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman, another huge name, and people were waiting for this. And of course, American Gods, is a television series now at this point. It
is, yep.
And it's super innovative, super exciting, and it's really well represented by Dark Horse. When they take a creator and support a creator, both of these creators have awesome control of their books, so it allows them to tell the stories that they want to tell.
Yeah, so very cool. American Gods, Neil Gaiman, huge name in literature as well as in comics, having written Sandman. You really can't get much more top tier than that. Right on for Dark Horse for really supporting these super talented creators. We love both of these books. But what's up next, Dan?
We're going to take a look at Image. These are the floppies, the regular sort of monthly comics that come out. We've already looked at the trade paperbacks, but here are the monthly comics. And again, Curse Words shows up.
Yeah, right up first. Curse Words, as we talked about before, another great book. This is number 7, so it's a little ways into their second arc now, but a very cool cover by one of our favorite artists and creators, Andrew MacLean. Glad to see them team up with Ryan Brown and Charles Soule, because they just seem to have that sort of new, fresh idea, new takes on things, so it makes total sense that they would team up for a cover together.
Right. Ryan usually does his own covers for Curse Words, but in this case, they brought in Andrew MacLean, who we love from Headlopper, his series. We have that here in the store, they asked him to do a cover for this particular issue, and he delivered a super cool, it's both a Curse Words cover, and it's very much got Andrew MacLean's personal style.
Yeah, he has a lot of style in his stuff, and it definitely comes through on this cover. The things just continue to get weirder in this new Curse Words, which is very exciting. Wizord, the main character of Curse Words, has made some new enemies, but also has made some new allies in this second arc, and it's very exciting to see where they're going with that. It continues to be bombastic and huge. Very exciting book. I'm loving this so far. One of my top picks of 2017 for sure. But moving on to something even weirder than Curse Words is Regression, another Cullen Bunn book, who we mentioned earlier. Does a lot of horror, and it definitely shows in Regression, a super weird book that deals with hypnotism and past lives and sort of bugs coming out of everything you see. Really, this man's struggling with seeing bugs everywhere, and it turns out he is not quite the man you would think he is, and they're into issue 4 now, and it's been very impressive so far. The storytelling keeps you on the edge of your seat, and he really knows how to do horror in comics. I don't think that's an easy thing to do, but he manages to pull it off extremely well.
Keeps you guessing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't quite know whether or not it's a real thing that's going on, or it's playing out in this guy's head, but no matter what, he keeps you on the edge of the seat.
Very much so. So yeah, Cullen Bunn putting out a ton of awesome titles, including Regression at the moment. Black Cloud, another very strong title, which is only a couple issues deep. For any of you looking to get in on a new Image title, that's definitely one possible avenue out of many. And Rockstars, you've read some of Rockstars.
I've read Rockstars, yeah, and I have not yet read this issue because it just came in this week, but I will be reading it. The concept behind Rockstars is sort of, what if all the sort of myths and legends and stuff about rock stars were true? So, what if Ozzy Osbourne really had a relationship with the devil, and what if Jim Morrison faked his death and went on to become, something else in life? And sort of these guys are kind of act as investigative reporters, or just personally driven detectives trying to get to the bottom of what's going on in these rock stars' lives, where there's demon involvement and cult involvement, and how do people actually sell their souls to the devil to become mega rock stars. And so it's a cool investigation of that. The art is really trippy, and it's a really fun and exciting read.
Yeah, that is a super cool high concept. If they manage to execute, which it sounds like they do inside the pages, I don't know why it's not on my pull list yet, really. So,
I think you'd like it more than you know.
Yeah, you're probably right. And probably many of you would as well. If you guys have read any of these books, please let us know what you're thinking about in the comments on this live video. But in the meantime, we're going to move on to even deeper cuts with new indie comics. Of course, Star Trek Mirror Broken by IDW. IDW is putting out some really awesome Star Trek books. This included, it examines the mirror universe in a way that we never have before in the episodes or comics of the original series. This is taking a look at the Next Generation and Picard's mirror universe. So it's been amazing so far. The art is incredible. This very painterly style going on, and it really lets you look at the other members of the USS Enterprise in a way you might not have ever seen them before. But they all carry these sort of characteristics but they're just taken and twisted a little bit to make a really compelling, interesting miniseries coming out of IDW at the moment.
Right, IDW does cool stuff. I mean, they're really best known for their licensed works. So you commonly see really popular types of titles coming from them. And this is a perfect example of them publishing an awesome series of Star Trek, and they're actually going to be doing a series for the upcoming Discovery, the new Star Trek that's going to be coming out.
Yeah, that's a very exciting thing because it's going to focus on the Klingons, which we only sort of see from the outside most of the time. But now we'll get a look where they're the protagonists and things. So I'm very excited for that. Mirror Broken has another couple issues before it's wrapped up, but they're always doing cool new stuff with Star Trek. They also have properties like G.I. Joe, Transformers, Mask. Just a number of really classic sort of 80s nostalgic properties they're writing the comics for. So super excited about that. And we'll move on to another sort of classic property, Sheena.
Sheena, yes, Queen of the Jungle. And this right now is a number 0 from Dynamite Comics, which they put out number 0s commonly in order to get people introduced into a new title that they have. And it sells for only 25 cents.
Yeah.
But it's a full-fledged, high quality comic. To let you check out what they're doing with Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, which has been around for a long, long time. Basically, a kind of a super cool female Tarzan, and they come up with very creative stories to attach to this character, and you can't go wrong at 25 cents.
Yeah, very much so. So it's super exciting to see them rebooting a classic character and offering it at a really great introductory price. Speaking of new characters, we've got Secret Weapons, a really cool event coming from Valiant Comics, who's putting out some awesome work. They also have some sort of licensed characters, but they do really cool their own universe things as well. Secret Weapons takes place in the sort of Faithverse, which is another superhero universe in the Valiant Comics realm. And Secret Weapons dives into some characters that sort of were written off to begin with, but actually prove themselves more than capable. And we have this really cool pre-order bundle cover that not everybody can get their hands on. So, yeah, very excited about that. And, of course, Blood Bowl is also coming out with, sort of a licensed property by Games Workshop, but a classic tabletop game now in its own comic.
Right. The overall concept there is fantasy football, but when they say fantasy football, they really mean fantasy football. It's orcs versus elves versus werewolves, and this the Blood Bowl comic actually sort of follows the story of the football team made up of orcs, and it's just a really cool title, a lot of fun. So just another one to sort of fill in the area and attach games and comics together.
Yeah, very cool stuff.
Couple titles from Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
These are just their regular monthly titles coming out.
Right, it's sort of a light week, but they're preparing heavily for their Legacy event next month, so some of the things are in sort of a weird status, but there's still some really solid comics coming out from them. Invincible Iron Man, of course, written by Brian Michael Bendis, one of their premier storytellers at Marvel, has been really awesome so far. They introduced Riri Williams in the previous run of Invincible Iron Man.
Ironheart.
Yes, exactly, and she's sort of taken the stage in this new series, which has been really strong. We see her struggling a little bit in Latveria, which ties in nicely to Infamous Iron Man in this current issue. But I read it yesterday. It was a great read, super fun. They're doing a lot of things you wouldn't expect out of an Iron Man comic, and it's really exciting. And then Astonishing X-Men is another Charles Soule book, which is now on issue number 2. Issue number 1 was amazing, and I think it just carries on to issue number 2. They have a really unique cast in this book in terms of X-Men characters: Gambit, Phantom X, of course Wolverine. It wouldn't really be a X-Men comic without him. Rogue, Psylocke, Beast. Just a really cool, unique bits and pieces from every sort of X-Men area.
Right, Charles Soule of Curse Words.
Yes.
Curse Words for Image Comics, and now Astonishing X-Men for Marvel Comics. So, he's working across the entire industry, really.
Yeah, and he's just been killing it as far as I'm concerned. Astonishing X-Men really impressed me. I think X-Men's in a really good place, but if I were to recommend one X-Men book, it would be Astonishing X-Men for sure, because I love the writer, and he's doing really cool stuff in that book. So, good stuff from Marvel this week. Oh, yeah. This is a book I was very excited for. It's also
new to our shop. Right?
It is, yeah. It's now 3 trades long. They're up to issue, I believe, 16 or so. But we just got it in this week. We have all 3 trades, 1, 2, and 3. And here it is. I picked it up last night and just tore through it. Very exciting. It's as if, so take Stranger Things, make the cast a bunch of young women instead of young boys, and do time travel instead of another dimension. I know that sounds convoluted, but it's really an amazing read. I love the covers in this book are like, if Apple did a cover or something. I'm really impressed with it, and the art inside is equally as amazing. It's a really fun 80s story about these young women who are just sort of coming out of childhood and moving into adulthood, and there's a lot of themes explored there, as well as it gets really weird too. Don't get me wrong.
When I first heard about it, I had no idea it was sci-fi.
Yeah.
From the title, Paper Girls, I did not know it was sci-fi, and then when I found out and started checking out these covers and the art that's involved in them, it was just like, wow, this is really cool stuff, and we need to have it in the shop.
Yeah, and that's Brian K. Vaughan, again, who's also writing Saga, who wrote Pride of Baghdad, a previous comic book club book. So you can't really go wrong. I believe it was voted Best New Series for an Eisner, the Comic Book Awards for 2017. So, yes, super exciting book. And I'm really impressed with it so far. I can't wait to read 2 and 3 and then put the singles on my pull list. Very good stuff. Super cool sci-fi.
We're going to wrap up.
Yes, with a major restock of one of our favorite books. We just talked about it last night in our last comic book club. Everybody read Volume 1, but now we are stocked and ready to go for anybody that wants to continue with Preacher by Garth Ennis, Vertigo Comics. A classic sort of indie story, which is now a major television show.
Right, we had Volumes 1 through 4 in the shop pretty much since we opened, but this is our first time, I believe, bringing in Volumes 5 and 6, which completes the series. And so you can pretty much get the whole series and wherever you happen to be in reading it here at the Geekery.
Yeah, we now have a number of people working their way through it. Plenty of talk about it going on at the shop now because we're all really examining it and realizing what an amazing book that's been sitting on our shelf since we opened. It's really quite a trip. Very adult, of course. You can check out AMC's television show for an idea of what's going on in these pages, but there's quite a bit more, I think, than you would expect. Very adult, a little graphic, but explores a lot of really human themes that are super exciting. And I love Volume 1. I can't wait to continue the journey through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have them in stock now. So we got you covered if you guys are looking to get in on Preacher. And that's all the new stuff. A lot of really awesome books coming through the Geekery this week. We'll be doing this more to let you guys know what's coming in every single week at the Geekery. Some weeks there will be games, some weeks there will be new books, some weeks there will be new miniatures and figures. So we're going to continue doing this and keep you guys up to date on what's moving through the Geekery. And yeah, and this will be your only chance to see Dad probably. So unless you stop in, of course. So thank you guys so much for watching. This will be going up on YouTube and staying up on Facebook for any of you that didn't get to check it out live. But if you could, please like, share, subscribe, comment, any of the above, or stop in and tell us which of these products you'd like to pick up. And we can definitely give you some recommendations based on your sensibilities and tastes. But yeah, really awesome stuff coming in this week, and we hope to see you guys soon.
Thanks, everybody.